Well, in Japan, I had to coach through translation. They did not speak English and I did not speak Japanese. So we had a translator. Yeah, she likes the physicality. We're working on that. Maybe a couple too many penalties, but she knows it, we know it, and we're working to get her better.
Czech Republic is about hockey and beer.
Yes.
And beer. We don't have beer today here.
I know.
Usually does.
I was a little bit disappointed, but I understand.
But you're
Kid professional. This is professional here.
What do you think about Czech beer? How many Czech beers did you hit?
Well,
Dámy a pánové, vítám vás u další epizody našeho projektu Puk Pak Hrdinky, tady je Nikča.
Ahoj, to bude hodně o tobě, ale...
Nacházíme se v Otavě a máme tady konkrétně trenérku Otavy a zároveň české reprezentace. A já mám velkou radost, že teď přepneme do angličtiny a já přivítám trenérku Carlu MacLeod. So, hello, welcome in our episode, Carla.
Thank you, yeah, thanks for having me.
We are happy you give us some time because you have a lot of work, hockey is running around. So we would like to start with this video and maybe you will tell us a little bit more after we finish it.
You got it.
Přátelé, tohle je AI, který dokresluje kvalitu obrazu a samozřejmě díky Samsungu jsme tu tour mohli začít a ještě partnerem je samozřejmě PWHL.
CARLA MACLEOD is a two-time Olympic gold medalist.
Did you see this video?
Yeah, I've seen
How many times?
Just a couple.
Just a couple. This is Olympic Games, right?
Yeah, this is me coming in. Right there.
Oh! Full house.
Yeah.
MacLeod was born in Spruce Grove and grew up playing hockey. She represented Team Alberta throughout her career.
Přátelé, vy, který to video nesledujete, tak máme tady sestřih paní Karly z její hokejové kariéry. So the video is kind of long,
It's long.
but
Yeah.
we want to show people and to you the memories from your career, and we would like to ask, what was your first step on hockey? How did you start to play hockey? We know Canadian people love this sport,
Yeah.
but in Czech, women hockey is not that popular. How was it in your childhood in Canada?
Well, good news in Czech, it's becoming more and more popular. So we're excited about that. We're excited about this opportunity. So again, thanks for letting me have the conversation with both of you. I always say I had a classic Canadian story. You're right. It's a hockey crazy country in Canada, much like Czech. I think there's a lot of similarities that way. But, I started playing in the 1986, middle of the 80s.
Okay.
When I was 4 years old, I started playing hockey, and it wasn't common at that point either. I had to play with the boys to start. I think I played 8 years with the boys before sort of girls hockey was even an option. But I loved it. I loved it from the time I was skating when I was 2. I was always playing street hockey or pond hockey. And I always just say my mom and dad were really cool people because they allowed me to play when I was 4 years old. So that's how I got my start. I don't even remember. I was too young to remember, but I've always loved the game and still love it today. So I'm pretty lucky.
That's true. We know a lot of Czech players had to play with the boys. You also played. So how was the first years when you had to play with the boys? Also, we know the Canadian hockey is very tough. A lot of battles, a lot of hits. So how was your, let's say, first couple of years to set up this style?
Yeah, when I was young, I didn't know any different. Much like the girls on our team here, it's all you know is you just play with the boys. And I had great teammates, I had great coaches, and it was all I knew. So it was always fun. I was learning the game just like everyone else was out on the ice, and I always was excited to go. So, my starting point was really positive. And I think as the game got faster and bigger, I just learned to adapt to it, much like our players. You just learn to adapt and, play to your skill set. So I was a pretty good skater, could see the play pretty well. So that helped me as I got a little bit older and the physicality increased. But you don't know any different. When you don't know any different, you just embrace the opportunity in front of you. And that's what I did.
And what was the story after childhood? Did you find some women's team? Did you go to some, let's say, preschool, high school, to some hockey women's team? Or
my first time I played with an all-girls team. It was, I was young. I was 11 or 12 years old, and it was like a special tournament that you had to make the team. And one of the big moments for me, we have an event called the Canada Winter Games. It's like a youth Olympics in Canada. And that was when I sort of decided, I was like, oh man, there's something here in the women's game. And that's where my dream to play in the Olympics actually began. So when I was 13 years old, I shifted from playing with the boys to playing with the girls. And I was fortunate in my hometown because we had a professional team that allowed me as a young player to be involved with it and practice with them and play some games. So I kind of had a nice transition from playing with the boys. I got to play with girls my own age, but also be challenged by playing with older girls as well. So it really helped me continue to build my skills.
How was it to be in the locker room with 30-year-old girls, ladies?
Yeah,
Depends what kind of...
You sometimes don't know what they're talking about, and that was probably a blessing. So a lot of university-age players when I was still in junior high or middle school. But all of them were really great to me, and I always was really lucky because I would just watch them. I knew they were on the national team or close to making Team Canada, and I'd just sit there and they pushed so much weight. They were so strong and they were so fit. And I just thought, okay, this is how you do it. And I learned a lot from them. So, they joked around. My nickname is Crib. And they called me Crib because where do babies sleep? They sleep in a crib. So I was the youngest. So everyone in the hockey world in Canada knows me as Crib, and my mom and dad are Mr. and Mrs. Crib. So, but those ladies led the way for me. They taught me a lot, and they sure helped me achieve my goals as I got older.
At these years, did you have some thought about you're gonna quit hockey, you're gonna do different sport, and maybe you're gonna go to some school and don't play hockey anymore?
No, I was always loving hockey. No, I loved every sport. I loved every sport growing up, and I played a lot of different sports, some organized, some not organized, but I always say I'm a sporty spice. I loved riding my bike. I loved climbing trees. I loved playing baseball, and volleyball was one of my favorite sports when I was going through school. Of course, as I got older, hockey took up more and more of my time. But to this day, I love golf. It's my favorite sport to play these days. So I just love to be active and love to play. But hockey was always my favorite, and it still is. That's why I'm still involved.
I saw some videos you did a Wisconsin college. Is it true?
That's right.
How was the system in the U.S. couple years ago? No, not couple years ago.
Don't say it. Don't say it how many years ago. Do you handle? Says a while ago. Yeah.
Sport, school, lifestyle. Was it the school's system ready for this? Same like these years? Because all the girls said it's amazing now. If you go to NCAA, you have super system. You have hockey sticks, great gyms. How was it in Wisconsin a couple years ago?
So we'll let your audience know. I was down there in 2001 was my first year. So I played 2001 till 2005. And the NCAA had been fairly established, but a lot of programs were brand new. And Wisconsin was just 2 years old at that point in their women's program. So I didn't really know what I was getting into. It's vastly different now. It's well known what the NCAA offers. But at that point, it was still quite new. And even as a Canadian, we weren't sure if you went to the U.S. for school, if Team Canada would still select you. So I was nervous going down there because I just didn't know what it was all about. But once I got there and I had the experience of this big school, big sports school, their American football team there, 90,000 people go to the games. It's crazy. So for me to be immersed in this sport culture was like nothing I had ever seen. We didn't have that in Canada to the same level. And so that in itself was just amazing. And it was something else. But then the hockey side of it, to your point, you were so well taken care of, from your equipment to your travel to making sure that you were academically set up to be successful, to tutors and making sure they really did insulate you. They really made it so you could be successful as a student and an athlete. And I can assure you my time at Wisconsin was one of the highlights of my career. My coaching staff down there was unbelievable to this day. There's still massive mentors for how I coach and what I do. But my teammates were also a blast. So, it's just neat. The hockey world's so small. You keep crossing paths with each other. But I loved my time as Wisconsin Badger. And I'm grateful that a lot of our players here get the chance to experience the NCAA or Canadian University and different options. But yeah, I enjoyed my time as a Badger.
I know like a lot of hockey teams have a hockey house. Did you girls like have your hockey house, like women's hockey house?
Yeah, I think that exists in most sports. Like you always love your teammates and you always love spending time together. So in college is such a special time because you're all in the same boat, same age. You're all doing school. You're all playing. So it's just such a unique opportunity to be able to build your friendships and become teammates. And I didn't live outright in a hockey house, but I did. My roommates were teammates, and my last couple of years, there's 3 of us living together, and we had this classic college house. I'm surprised the wind didn't blow it over. It was tilted, it was leaning, it was gungy and dirty, but we loved it, and it was our house, and we still have a lot of chuckles over it now when we see each other again. So to your point, it's a big part of the culture of college, and it was something we enjoyed.
When did you meet first Czech hockey player, like woman?
When did I? Well, I was coached by Thomas Pacina when I was at the Olympic Oval. One of the images of me playing in that first video, it said the Oval Extreme. And when I was playing there, Wally Kozak was our head coach, and Thomas Pacina came in and was our assistant coach. So that was my first sort of exposure to what I would say the unique style of Czech hockey. And I was very privileged to be able to kind of play it with that team. We had a very good team, and that style of play was one we really embraced. So that was sort of my first glimpses to, what's going on in Czech and how are they doing things. Skill work was different from him. And then, to be honest, I come across the Czech team when I was coaching Japan leading into the Sochi Olympics. We had competed against each other a few times, so saw the game, but then really learned of the game when I was doing media in Canada for the World Championship and the Calgary Worlds. And that's where I saw, I was like, this is a really neat brand of hockey. These women are very, very good players. So that was sort of my natural path into learning about a little bit more about Czech hockey and the women's role within it.
Maybe a little bit back, Olympic Games. We saw you the one Vancouver 2015? 2010. Full house. Same like I first saw. I thought it was a Crosby goal. Same.
Just
jersey.
as exciting.
Yeah. Same exciting. Do you have some memories for this tournament? Of course,
yeah.
Gold medal, huge memories. But all the Olympic Games, you are at your country, at Vancouver, you're gonna win. That's a big rivalry with USA, right?
Correct.
Because not many teams was able to compete you, just US or Canada.
Often,
it was the history, often final, right?
Yep, that's often the final, and there's always a lot of big build up to that. And as a Canadian athlete, those Olympics were the ultimate dream. Of course, playing in any Olympics is a privilege and pretty incredible. But to be able to do it in your home country, as you saw in that video, it was 18,000 screaming Canadians. Beer drinking Canadians is actually what it was, to be accurate. So to be able to go to those Olympics and have your family and friends there, and the whole country was so excited. It was unbelievable. I chuckled watching that video when it showed me coming into the celebration. I felt in that moment I jumped 2 meters in the air, and I watched it on video. It was maybe 5 centimeters, but it felt higher, felt bigger. It was incredible to have that experience. It was incredible to have the buzzer go and knowing that we had won. We beat the Americans 2-0 in that game. 2 goals by our young teammate Marie-Philippe Poulin, who's obviously evolved into one of the best, if not the best player to have played in our game. So it's hard to really truly state how exciting and what that moment has meant, but it's been one that has stuck with me. It's one that really all Canadians lived, and it was really neat to have that opportunity.
When did you quit hockey like player?
After that game.
After that game. This is your last game?
Yeah, that was my last game. Pretty good way to go out, no?
That's good quit, right?
Yeah, not so bad.
I'm leaving, bye.
Yeah. Mic drop. Thank you. Yeah.
That's nice. And you said you've been coaching Japan team for Sochi. How did you get to Japan?
I know. It's kind of a crazy tour.
How long did you spend how long did you spend in the national team?
With Japan? So in 2012, the Japanese Ice Hockey Federation reached out to the Canadian Hockey Federation asking if there was anyone they would recommend. And my coach through my Team Canada years, Melody Davidson, she coached me my whole high-end career. Mel was always my coach. And lucky for me, she mentioned my name. I had just started coaching in Calgary. I was pretty new to it, just 2 years in, a year and a half in. But she suggested to them that maybe I would be the right fit for them. So I flew over in January of 2012, I think, to say I'd never been to Japan. I had no idea what I was doing. But I just went over there and got to know the staff and got to know the players. And it felt right. It was an absolute challenge for me. I'm fortunate when I coach here with Czech, the players and the staff allow me to coach in English. I'm very, very lucky. They don't have to do that, but they do. Well, in Japan, I had to coach through translation. They did not speak English and I did not speak Japanese. So we had a translator. So
the ice?
Yeah, on the ice, on the bench, everywhere. So it was crazy. You think of a timeout, a 30-second timeout. I only had 15 seconds because it had to be translated.
Oh, my God.
So there's lots of challenges there, but it made it for a really fun experience. I ended up being with them for 2 years. So we did, the Olympic qualifier was obviously the objective. They had played in the 98 Olympics as the host nation, but had failed to qualify since. And so we went through a 1A World Championship into the Olympic qualifier. It's like nothing I've ever experienced, but we won. And we ended up going to the Sochi Olympics. And I just messaged some of them just before this podcast to wish them luck because they're right now competing in the Olympic qualifier to get back. So I went over every month for a camp for 2 years. And it was an incredible experience, one that I'm so grateful for. And it's neat to see today when I cross paths with those women, sort of the connection that we still have. It was pretty special.
So they're trying to be in the Olympic Games in Milano?
That's right.
Who are they playing now?
I can't remember who was in their pool, but they've got their Olympic they're hosting it.
Okay.
But they're competing in it this week.
Why did you quit in Japan team?
There's lots.
Did you want to go to Czech?
I said I got to wait for Czech to call me. You don't really know where this game will take you. You don't know where your opportunities will happen next. For me, there's just some variables that needed to be a little bit different and a little bit better suited for what I required to be successful there. And it just didn't work out for lots of different reasons. But in the same breath, it was two of the best years I've ever had. The players were incredible. To this day, I smile when I think of them. So that experience really did shape me as a coach. I learned from that experience that you don't always need language. There's a lot of ways to connect with people. And that's something I've taken with me in everything I've done since. So it wasn't an easy decision to not return, but in the same breath, the variables weren't quite right for me to return. So I just, I left that opportunity, really proud of what we had done, and was able to go back to Canada and start head coaching a little bit more consistently to learn how to do that side of the game.
Before we're going to keep, we have one competition here. Can you touch the screen like this? Like this.
Yeah.
So we have a challenge here.
Okay.
All of you have to guess how many millimeters. It's going to be hard for you. Millimeters.
No, we're in metric system in Canada.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So how many millimeters is this TV? If you're going to be the first, you're going to win something from Samsung.
Okay. I think it's 15 millimeters.
15 millimeters.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not going to tell you the truth.
Okay.
But who's going to win is going to get some present from Samsung, and we will bring you to České Budějovice.
I like this. I hope I win.
You hope? Maybe this TV.
Yes, we'll see.
And you can travel with her to Ottawa back to...
I'll carry it on the plane, hey? Just a small carry-on.
So now we're going to talk about Ottawa, because you are head coach of this team. It's a new, we call it Women NHL, PWHL,
correct,
right? And you also are coach in Czech national team.
Yeah.
How can you match these two, let's say, jobs?
Yeah.
And you have 3 Czech players in your team. Did you pick them?
Well, they probably didn't pick me. They probably need a break from me after all that. It's a lot of CARLA MACLEOD for them. But, to your point, it's a privilege to coach both teams. It's unbelievable. This experience to be with the Czech women's national team is a dream. It has been from the start. There's been lots of ups. There's been lots of downs. But really, really impressed by what this group is capable of. And we just feel like we're just getting started. There's a lot more that we want to do together and different things we want to accomplish. So, to be able to be called the head coach of Team Czechia it sort of makes me smile, and I'm just like, how did this ever happen? But I'm so grateful it has, because I think we've been a really nice combo. Our staff and these players and our management, we're just, growing the game here and finding ways to achieve things we just hadn't done before. So that in itself has been nothing short of an impressive ride and something I've loved. To have the PWHL become a thing, to exist, has been a dream for not only current players, but my generation and the generation before me. So the fact that we've got this league in North America that, is drawing 10,000 plus fans every night is incredible to be a part of that. And it's a dream for me to also be in Ottawa. So I guess for me, I'm just really fortunate to be able to be in the roles that I'm in. Is my world busy? Of course it is, but that's what I enjoy. That's what I love. And I wouldn't want it any other way. So for me, it's just, when we get a break from Ottawa, it means I'm on a plane to come to Czech. And there's no other place I'd rather be. So, I'll leave on Sunday to go back home, and I'll go coach Ottawa again. So I get to do what I love. So I don't find it difficult. I find it to be a lot of fun.
The PWHL is in its second year. Is that a big step forward for women's hockey?
Yes, it's a massive step forward in I think, for the world. But also in particular, obviously in North America, for us to have a league that is showing what the best women's hockey players in the world are capable of doing has been, I don't even know how to describe it. It's been surreal. For a long time in women's hockey, we were told, we weren't marketable. Nobody wanted to watch us. We were always told we have to just inspire the next generation, because it was always just about little girls. And of course, a big component of what we're doing is to inspire the next generation. But what we're learning in this league is sports fans love the game. It's not about anything other than that. Sports fans love good hockey, and the PWHL is great hockey.
I saw a couple highlights, and I saw it's like starting to be a little bit tougher.
Yep.
A lot of hits. The women are hitting each other. It's kind of sometimes like, let's say, I'm afraid of them. Still, it's a woman,
Yeah.
Like they're smaller. They nothing bad, but I'm still afraid about them. Somebody don't gonna get hurt them. In your years, was the hockey tough like this, or now the PHW it's tough as hockey? What you saw?
It's definitely more physical right now. The PWHL has embraced more physicality, as has the Swedish league. Pro women's sport in general has become more dynamic. And I always think of it. It's funny to me because they all train. They're very powerful women. They work hard in the gym. They have muscles. They have endurance. They're really strong. And I always think of it in individual sport. If you had a female sprinter, a runner, you wouldn't say to her, "Oh, slow down, don't go so hard."
Okay.
You would always say, "Yeah, go as fast as you can." Well, that's what the physicality is allowing in women's hockey. It's showing how dominant they can be and why their training matters. They're not going to be injured. We're going to learn how to play the right way. We're going to learn if there's injury in men's sport, and nobody seems to be too worried there.
That's true.
We're not delicate. We're powerful. And the sport is finally letting us show how much power we have. And that's the mentality. It's not a shift by the athletes. It's a shift by the fans watching to realize women are strong. Let us show it.
So do you think the EIHF gonna change some rules very soon or not? Because the PWHL rules are a little bit, let's say, open for hits. EIHF, let's say World Cup in České Budějovice, the players not gonna be able to hit each other that much like in your league now. So do you think it's gonna change soon?
I think at the end of the day, everyone is trying to allow the women, the players, to be at their best. And I think as we evolve and grow, we'll find that middle ground to say what's the best product, because the product is what sells, and the fans want the best product. So I don't think fans want to see 10 power plays on one team and 10 power plays. That's not hockey, right? I think people are rising and enjoying the game because it's more physical. So I suspect as we grow the sport and as we get more comfortable in the physicality, I do think it'll be reflected on all stages. There will always be rules, just like men's hockey. There will always be guidelines. But I believe, everyone involved in women's hockey wants the best product shown, and I think the physicality highlights the best product.
That's true. We heard about a trade last year, Montreal to Ottawa. Tereza Vanišová get traded to your team. So tell me the story behind the scene. What's happened?
All the
Like,
secrets.
did you like want her to your team? So you guys from Ottawa like tried to make this trade, or you just didn't want your player in the team and they said we have Anisha for you. Now we have 3 players in your team.
We do. We have three Czech players in Ottawa. What's interesting in the league is the trades are all brand new to everyone. We've never had a league in women's hockey that you can trade players or players could be traded. And it's a new dynamic. And it's not as black and white as you framed it in your questions. It's not as easy as, 1, 2, 3 equals A, B, C. It's very intricate. There's a lot of variables you do try to control, and there's a lot of variables that you don't control. And, I think for us in Ottawa, we're always just trying to do what is best for our organization and trying to give us the best chance to win hockey games. So no trade is easy because you're talking about people, and, everybody's a great person, so you're trying to do right by people and recognizing that, when a player exits your program, it is difficult for the players that remain. It's hard on the player that's exiting. And the same thing when you bring somebody in, it's hard on them, and it's a new dynamic in the team. So, I think for us, we're just striving to put the right players on the ice in Ottawa to give us the best chance to succeed. And we felt that adding Vanisheva to the group was going to make us stronger, and ultimately that's why the decision was made.
How do you like her game? Because we heard she playing a lot of like to body because she liked to hit it.
Yeah, she likes the physicality. We're working on that. Maybe a couple too many penalties, but she knows it, we know it, and we're working to get her better on that side of it. But, in the same breath, she's worked really hard to be as strong as she is, and she's an elite skater. She's physically fit and enjoys the physicality. So again, just finding the right time and the place for it. But, she's impacting games very positively because she is who she is, and she's as fit as she is, and she's a very skilled hockey player.
Maybe for Czech fans, we will be looking for our World Cup in České Budějovice. A lot of people may be going to see the Czech women's hockey in the first time. We know America and Canada, they are usually in the final. But our team have a chance to beat them. Do you think we're going to beat them finally, maybe in Czech? Is a possibility to do it? Can you help us with that?
I think anything is possible. And we believe in our team that that's the goal. It's a lofty goal. We know that. The history of the game tells us it's a lofty goal. That's fine. We've set lofty goals the whole time we've worked together. I'm not sure anyone would have predicted we would have won a medal, never mind 2, and played in a 3rd bronze medal game and lost in a shootout. So this team has a lot of potential to continue to grow and evolve. And, we've had conversations about how to do that and recognizing it's not going to be easy. But I can assure you, when fans come to watch our team play, and we hope a lot of them do because it's incredible hockey, they're going to see what we're about and how good we are. We don't take anything for granted. We know we have to earn everything that we get. But there's certainly a piece of us that's going to keep trying to improve and get better. And you never know on any given day who's going to win the game.
Like a coach, every coach have something what piss him off very a lot. I remember coach, he hate when somebody didn't block the shots.
Yeah.
When somebody don't do back check or miss empty netter. So what is the thing you hate it when you see that?
It's a good question. I think it does come down to those effort areas, and that's kind of what you just listed there. It's those effort pieces, because it's like, man, if you just do that, it's going to give you a better chance to win. And, I'm grateful with this group. I think they've really embraced a lot of the effort pieces. But, I think of the shot blocking, like that's an important piece, especially when you're trying to beat somebody that, many would say you're the underdog against. Just taking advantage of the variables that you can control and those the hard work areas. So I don't think if there's one thing that I actually absolutely get upset at, but I always believe if we can inspire the team to want to do great in those harder areas, you're going to give yourself a better chance to win.
So what is it like to coach the Czech national team where all the girls speak Czech? Do you ever feel a bit nervous about that?
No, they can say anything they want about me. I'm sure they do. Sometimes I hear Carla, Carlu, or Carly, and I think, well, they're saying something about me. But I don't worry about it. I trust them. And, I recognize the connection that we have. I know from everything I do towards them, it's always just trying to help and try to help them be better and realize their own potential. I have no doubt there's moments that they can be frustrated by decisions we make as coaches or I make as a coach. That's every athlete has that. But this is a group that I trust wholeheartedly, and you know, when they're speaking their native tongue as they should be, I don't worry about it. I think it's important that they can talk how they need to.
And have you learned some Czech words?
Not enough. I apologize.
You don't know anything?
How do you say really?
Opravdu.
No, that's not the word I learned then. So, you know what? I've tried. You guys have a very, very challenging language. I can confirm that. I found it easier to learn Japanese than Czech because I understood the sounds. There's unique sounds in your language, and where I would love to say I could invest my time and learn it. Like I said earlier, I'm very grateful that they allow English to be the language that which I can coach in, because they're getting more information from me because I can speak English.
That's true.
Yeah.
And do you study in Ottawa sometimes Czech language? Like really you open the book and...
No, I tried when I was first hired. I tried to do like the Duolingo or whatever brand you want to say, just the stuff online that you could learn. But it's very, very challenging. And then to retain it is super challenging. And then when I came over here my first time and I saw my name written and it said CARLA MACLEOD or CARLA MACLEOD, I was like, I don't even know my own name in this language. So that's when I knew I was probably in some trouble. But you know what? I wish I had a mind for foreign language. I don't think I do. And for me, I was just being as comfortable as I could be to help this group as quick as I could. So I've just stuck with English.
Czech Republic is about hockey and beer.
Yes.
And beer. We don't have beer today here.
I know.
Usually does.
I was a little bit disappointed, but I understand.
But you're
Kid professional. This is professional here.
What do you think about Czech beer? How many Czech beers did you hit?
Well, first of all, I come from a country that is a hockey-loving, beer-drinking country. So I do think like we're probably cousins as nations. So, you know, there's a lot of similarities between Czech and Canada that way. Maybe it's the long, cold winters, I don't know, but it seems to work for both nations that we play a lot of hockey and we drink a lot of beer. So, you know, for me as a beer drinker, I actually didn't start drinking beer until before the Vancouver Olympics. Okay. I never liked it, but I recognized if we had success there that was probably going to be the primary celebratory drink. So I wanted to make sure I could celebrate the right way. So I figured out how to drink it. So I thought I was proud of myself there. I joined this team and this group, and it becomes very evident very clearly that there's a lot of pride in the beer here in Czech. And I've been fortunate to be able to sample many. And I can confirm that I too enjoy Czech beer and try to have some every once in a while.
That was nice last words, I think.
That's how we want to end it, eh? A beer drinking, na zdraví.
So is there any in a sentence what you want to say to Czech young girls they've been thinking about to play hockey? Why should they do? And maybe what should they do and what should they don't do?
Well, one, I think from what I've seen from women's hockey in Czech, it's unbelievable. So for any young girl out there who thinks she might want to play, absolutely go play. She's got some of the best role models I've seen from around the world right here in her country. And I hope her parents support her. And I hope her community supports her. And I hope people continue to understand the great benefits of being a hockey player. Doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, being a hockey player is a privilege. So I hope it continues to grow in this country. You know, what she needs to do is enjoy it, have fun, try to get better, beat the boys, beat the girls, be the best. You know, enjoy it. Do what you need to do. And like I said, hopefully anyone who's got a young son or daughter that enjoys the game, I hope they do come and watch the World Championship. It doesn't just have to be about the men winning. Watch the women try to compete as well. And, you know, I think this nation will be inspired by the hockey that they're seeing. And that's what gets me excited about next month.
Karla, thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And I hope you enjoy and have a beer maybe tonight and enjoy your rest of the day and see you in České Budějovice, maybe with some present.
Oh, well, I was pretty close maybe. We'll see. Anyway, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for the conversation.
Thank you, PWHL. Thank you, Samsung, for this episode and see you in the next episode.
Samsung televize, matný displej, 11 mm široká, díky ní jsme si ty epizody moc užili a mohli jsme tam proložit videa, fotky. Výrobek roku od Stereo Video. Takovýhle ocenění Samsung televize OLED dostala.